Last week I had flu and I couldn't sleep at night. Now the people who have had this experience of insomnia at some point in their life will understand how long the night becomes and how the seconds stretch into minutes and the minutes into hours. But insomnia is not what we are going to talk about in this video. We are going to talk about the time. Time seems to pass slowly not only when we are bored or in pain, but it also passes slowly in emergency situations. When we travel to unfamiliar places, like for example a week in a foreign country seems much longer than a week at home. Time passes slowly to children, but fast to adults. What researchers found about how dying people perceive time. So bear with me because this is what we will discuss in today's video, why perception of time changes in different scenarios. I'm Dr. Zulkifil, I'm a neuroscientist, and on this channel, we discuss everything related to brain. I would really appreciate if you can like and subscribe because it will help me reach more audience. Now before discussing, let's do a simple experiment. You are seeing a clock on your screen. Look away from the second hand of the clock, I mean the needle which shows the seconds, for some time. Now quickly shift your gaze to the needle which shows seconds. You may notice that the needle showing seconds pause for a very brief moment before ticking again. Why it happens, we will discuss it later after understanding the larger context. You might have noticed that in some emergency situations, time seems to slow down. And sometimes you have enough time to think, decide, and sometimes take a preventive action. Later when you think about it, even you get surprised. How did you manage to do it? Many people are convinced that the time dilation saved them from the serious injuries or even saved their lives because it allowed them to take the preventive action that would normally be impossible.
But the flames are already erupting all around you.
Initially, if I take through from that point, it's 28 seconds, but for me it looks more like 1 minute 30, and you will see through the explanation. So,
for example, in a published report, one woman recounts a horrific experience where two men tried to rape her, but she was able to defend herself and escape because everything was so slow that she had the time to think and react faster than the men attacking her. And there have been countless similar reports about people's experiences of robberies, assaults, accidents, dangerous confrontations with wild animals, and natural disasters where they encountered the time dilation. These time dilations were accompanied with enhanced attention, alertness, and rapid thought process because the survivors often report time slowing down, allowing them to notice details they would typically miss. These time expansion or dilation experiences, in addition to emergencies and accidents, were also noticed in the people who took psychedelic substances. These are the drugs which change the way your brain works, causing you to see, hear, and feel things in unusual or vivid ways. They can alter thoughts, emotions, and sense of reality. People sometimes use them for spiritual, creative, or therapeutic purposes. The examples are LSD, DMT, etc. So for example, in a report, a man who took LSD shared his experience that when he looked at stopwatch on his phone, he observed that hundredths of a second were moving as slow as seconds normally move. Besides that, athletes, particularly those engaged in high-speed or high-risk sports, sometimes experience time dilations during crucial moments. For example, in a report, a hockey player described a play that seemed to last 10 minutes but actually occurred in just 8 seconds. Moreover, strong emotions, particularly fear, anxiety, can also sometimes cause the time to pass slowly. In a peer-reviewed research study, one researcher discovered that when people are close to dying, they may feel like time no longer exists. So the researcher broke the process into 3 stages. First, pre-transition. The person starts the process of dying. Second, transition. They begin to let go. Third stage, post-transition. In this stage, person fully accepts death and feel peaceful, calm, and free from the usual sense of self. In this final stage, people may feel so much at peace and disconnected from the time and space that it seems like they are in an endless, timeless moment. This feeling can last a short or a long time depending on the person. On the other hand, in certain situations, like for example when we are getting late of work, time seems to fly. This phenomena is called time shrinkage. Time shrinkage occurs in enjoyable activities, busy periods, positive emotional states, deadlines and time pressure, digital media consumption, and some other situations. As people grow older, they often report that time seems to pass more quickly. We will discuss about this in the upcoming section. The reason why time can speed up and slow down is a bit of a mystery. Some researchers think that mild variations in time perception are linked to information processing of our brain. So as a general rule, the more information, such as perceptions, emotions, sensations, thoughts, that our minds process, the slower time seems to pass. Time passes slowly to children because they live in a world of newness. New environments stretch time because of their unfamiliarity. On the other hand, absorption or focus contracts time because our attention becomes too narrow and our minds become quiet with few thoughts passing through. So there are different explanations and theories about time dilation in different situations. Let's discuss few of them one by one. So first explanation is that the time dilation or the subjective experience of time slowing down involves several key brain mechanisms. The dopamine system plays crucial role with fast dopamine signals linked to underestimating time intervals and slower dopamine changes affecting time precision. The two important regions of the brain involved in time perception are anterior insula and prefrontal striatal circuit. During emergencies or heightened states, increased arousal or attention activates these regions, leading to faster processing of information. This faster processing of information can make time seem to slow down as the brain takes in more information and details than usual in a given time period. The brain's internal clock may also speed up in these situations, contributing to the feeling that the time is passing more slowly than the normal. The second explanation for the time dilation in emergency situations is the flight and fight response. When faced with a perceived threat, our body's survival instincts kick in, triggering a cascade of physiological changes. Hormones like adrenaline flood our system, heightening our senses and speeding up our mental processes. This state of hyperarousal causes our brain to take in and process more information than usual in a short period. As a result, we experience a subjective slowing down of time, even though time itself isn't actually changing. This perception of time dilation allows us to react more quickly and make split-second decisions in dangerous situations, potentially improving our chances of survival. Now, since at the moment of that emergency, our brain had processed so much information and the more data was stored in the memory than usual that when we recall it later, it seems that the time had passed slower at that moment.
It's 28 seconds, but for me it looks more like 1 minute 30.
But this explanation of flight and fight response does not fit in situations where we are calm and relaxed. Third explanation about the time dilation is that it was developed as an evolutionary adaptation and as a survival mechanism that helped our ancestors navigate dangerous situations more effectively. When faced with life-threatening emergencies, the ability to perceive time as slowing down allowed early humans to process more information quickly, make faster decisions, and react more precisely. This heightened state of awareness, triggered by the fight or flight responses, essentially gave our ancestors time to analyze their surroundings, identify threats, or escape routes, and take life-saving actions. Over time, individuals who experience this time dilation might have had a better chance of survival in dangerous encounters, passing on this trait to future generations. As a result, this became an ingrained part of our neurological response to high-stress situations, continuing to serve us in modern times, during emergencies or intense experiences. Now let's discuss why time slows down when we are bored, waiting, can't sleep, or in peaceful situations. In these situations, we tend to focus more on the passage of time itself. This increased attention to time makes us more aware of its flow, causing it to feel slower. Our brain allocates more resources to tracking time when we are not engaged in other activities, leading to a heightened perception of duration. Second, as I also discussed, the dopamine system plays a crucial role in time perception. During boring or calm situations, there is typically less dopamine release in the brain. Lower dopamine levels are associated with a slower subjective sense of time. This contrasts with enjoyable activities that increase dopamine in our brain and make time seem to pass quickly. Now, why time passes slowly to children and faster to adults? The perception that time passes slowly to children and faster to adults is largely attributed to the way our brain processes new experiences and familiar routines. For children, almost everything is new and exciting, requiring more cognitive processing. This increased brain activity creates more detailed memories, making time feel more longer in retrospect. As we age, we encounter fewer new experiences and fall into more predictable routines. Our brains don't need to form as many new neural connections, resulting in fewer distinct memories over time. This lack of novelty and brain's efficiency in processing familiar information make time seem to pass more quickly in adults. Additionally, as we get older, each year becomes a smaller fraction of our total life experience, contributing to the sensation that the time is accelerating as we age. Now let's discuss why the seconds needle of a clock appears to stop for a very brief moment when you look at it quickly. This is called chronostasis. It happens because your brain tries to fill in missing information when your eyes move quickly because of the rapid eye movement. During this movement, your brain does not fully process what you see, so it adjusts by making the first thing you look at seem like it lasted longer than it actually did. What is your opinion on the perception of time? Do you have any particular experiences? We are building a community where our comment section is also a place where you can share your thoughts and we can have discussions. Please do share and consider subscribing. See you soon.